Alright, so now they're in the seventh circle. They just walked over there, no real incident, and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of broken rocks all around. And Dante's like, oh, what the fuck? What are all these broken rocks doing here? And Virgil's like, oh shit, I don't remember this stuff. This must have happened when Jesus Christ came down and stole all the random dudes from hell and left all the cool dudes down here. Because that's what he does. He steals dudes and he causes earthquakes. And then they see a Minotaur. And the Minotaur is like, holy shit, a living person! Dante, I'm gonna kill you! And he's so angry that he just keeps waving his arms and he forgets what he's doing and they just kind of walk past him. So they walk through some more broken rocks and they get to the first circle of the seventh circle of hell, which is for the people who are violent against their neighbors. So there's a whole bunch of centaurs here. Centaurs, again, what the fuck are they doing here? And they have bows and arrows and they are shooting dudes who are submerged in boiling blood. So these dudes, you know, the centaurs are making sure that the dudes are submerged the proper amount in the blood. Because if you killed like one dude, maybe just your feet are submerged. If you killed all the dudes, then your entire body is submerged in Blood City. So that's what the centaurs are in charge of. And one of them looks and he sees Dante and he's like, holy shit, a live person. We got all these bows and arrows, but we can't kill shit with them. What a chance to kill a dude. So they're like, what up? And Virgil's like, no, Dad, no, guys, chill out. I'm supposed to be giving this guy a tour. Like, can we get a guide? And the centaurs are like, fuck, fine. How about I hook you up with my homie Nessus? Now, guys, you remember who Nessus is? Nessus is a centaur. One time, Hercules tried to get him to give his wife a ride across the river, and then halfway across the river, Nessus started trying to rape that chick. And then when Hercules, like, understandably killed him, he tried to give his poison blood to the chick to give to Hercules, which she did, and then Hercules died. So, this is not the guy whose back you want to be riding on. But anyway, he conspicuously fails to try and rape Dante anywhere along the way, which I found a little bit disappointing. But anyway, they're going along, and Virgil is pointing dudes out to Dante like, oh, over there is completely submerged in blood is Alexander the Great. And over there is Dionysus. What the fuck is Dionysus doing here? Dionysus, first of all, he's not a dude, he was a god. Second of all, he's the god of booze and whores. He should be in the second circle of hell with all the booze and whores guys, not down here in the murder place. I mean, I guess a lot of his followers, like, ripped off some people's skin and maybe fucked their eye sockets and cut off their heads. But that was his followers. That wasn't him. He was a chill dude. He shouldn't be punished just because his followers weren't necessarily quite as chill as he was. I mean, that's not entirely fair, is it? But I guess really nothing about hell is particularly fair. Anyway, they get out of the first circle of the seventh circle of hell, and they get into the second circle of the seventh circle of hell, which is for people who are violent against themselves, which is the suicides. But all there's no dudes here, there's just a bunch of fucking trees. And Virgil's like, hey Dante, you should totally tear off one of the twigs of one of these trees. Just, just do it. And so Dante breaks off a twig, and the tree's like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah, it turns out the trees are the dudes. The dudes are the trees. Because, like, they go down there and they get planted as saplings, and then harpies, like, rape the fuck out of them, and they get all scabby and gross, and when you break off a twig, it's like dismembering them. Why you gotta be such a dick, Virgil? Why'd you do that to that guy? So anyway, Dante starts talking to this tree he just dismembered, because it's also bleeding. It's, like, super gross. But he's talking to the tree. Turns out, tree is from Florence. Who would have suspected? So they start talking about Florentine politics. Guys, I'm sorry if you really want to hear about Florentine politics, because I give less than no fucks about that. But they're talking, anyway, and then they start talking also about what's going to happen when their punishment is perfected in Judgment Day. What's going to happen is like, God is going to come and hang all of their dead bodies on the tree, so it's like, hey, there's your dead body, you want to be reunited? You can't, because you're a tree now! Aha! 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 God is such a dick, all the time. Anyway, then they're talking, and all of a sudden, like, a whole bunch of dudes run by, like, shit, shit, shit! They're trying to run away from some angry dogs, and they jump into a bush, which happens to be another dude. Like, everything here is a dude that's getting fucked up. They jump into the other, and then they, like, disembowel him, and then the dogs come, and they tear that shit up, and then there's harpies flying around. God, this circle sucks. It's like a constant party, like a constant Mardi Gras of suffering going on. It's just awful. And guess what? The dudes who jumped into the bush, and the bush, also from Florence. So they're all talking about Florence now, even though they're all, like, being dismembered and horrible. But eventually, like, the dogs go away and the dudes go away, and Dante and Virgil kind of gather up the leaves belonging to that bush, and they give it back, and they get out, and they go to the third circle of the seventh circle of hell, which is for people who were violent against God. So this better be some bad shit, right? Right. It is, in fact, such bad shit that this circle is actually 3 circles. So yes, the seventh circle of hell has 3 circles. One of those circles has 3 circles. Guys, I heard you like circles, so I put some circles in your circle so you could be tormented eternally while you're tormented eternally. So the first circle of the third circle of the seventh circle of hell is for the blasphemers. And it is just like a huge thing of burning sand, and fire is raining down from the skies. And there's actually this one really chill dude there called Capaneus, who's a giant who besieged Thebes, who is like on the stand, and they're like whipping him, and he's on fire and shit. But he is never gonna calm down. He's like, I'm not gonna stop raging, ain't gonna stop blaspheming, never gonna stop, never gonna stop, never gonna stop. He never stops, he never quits. So they have clearly failed at punishing this guy. In fact, I don't think this is even as bad a punishment as the fucking tree thing where everybody's getting like dismembered all the time. That is much worse. They should put him in that one. They should just get a fucking transfer for that guy. But then they go on to the second circle of the third circle of the seventh circle of hell, which is for the dudes who are violent against nature, which is the sodomites. Sodomites! Hey! So, now, guys, if I ran hell, which I should, I would not put all of the dudes who are in hell for wanting to bang other dudes in the same circle of hell together. This sounds like a fucking party. This sounds like as much of a party as the second circle of hell, which, let me just say, is like you take all the horniest dudes and chicks in the world and then literally fling them towards each other at high speeds with tornadoes until they start penetrating each other. Like, this is basically what's happening down here too, is you take all of the gayest dudes and you put them in a constant burning party down in hell. All together. So there's gotta be some boning going on. I mean, this place is way too big and the demons are way understaffed. There's gotta be some sort of sexy hidey hole going on somewhere around here. But anyway, these dudes are like walking around, and what do you know? Dante runs into some other dudes that he knows. So they walk along the edge of the sand for a while to talk to him. And he's like, and one of the dudes is like, hey Dante, how's Florence? Is it still a chill place to hang out? And Dante's like, nah dude, it kinda blows now. And the guy's like, oh well, that sucks. So they move on out of that circle, and then they go to the third circle of the seventh circle of hell. And this is for the usurers. So it's like all these dudes and they're standing. So yeah, see, it all comes back to that conversation they had earlier about why you should hate usurers. But so there's all these dudes standing, and there's like fire raining down on them, and they gotta have purses around their necks. Honestly, this whole God circle, like this 3 circles down in the third circle of the seventh circle of hell, these are not actually as bad as the fucking suicide circle. I'm still really like freaking out about the suicide circle. But anyway, Dante's checking these dudes out, but he doesn't really talk to anybody, I guess because he's too cool to know usurers. And meanwhile, Virgil is negotiating with this monster Geryon, who's like a fucking snake with bear claws and a fucking mohawk or some shit, for a ride down to the 8th circle of hell. The fact that Geryon is this kind of weird monster just once again proves that Dante has no idea the mythological shit he's referencing, because Geryon is actually a dude with 3 heads who had a bunch of cows that Hercules killed and then stole the cows. So I think Dante is just kind of like, has like a dartboard with a bunch of random Greek and Roman names on it and is just throwing shit at it, like literal shit. He is fascinated by shit, as we will find out later on, and I've already found out actually, because there's just shit all over the place in hell. There's shit and fire, like shit lava. So eventually, Virgil finishes negotiating with Geryon, and Geryon flies him down into the 8th circle of hell. And the rest is a story for another time.